Retweet. We are live. There we go. So, hello to every to all the fine folks that are not here yet. And unlike a lot of times when I do these streams, I actually have my friend Padawan, who is a reasonable Disney Star Wars fan.
Hello.
So, so instead of the regular shitting on Disney Star Wars that always ends up happening, this will probably be a little bit more civil.
I'll try to be nice.
Same here. Yeah. And you know that whereas I can be pretty critical, I also tend to try to be fair.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, hi, my own stutter. Hi Natso and hi Morgus Ring. You say you're not watching, but there are two people in chat. Well, okay, now there's one. So yeah. Okay. And so well, like you've seen before, I've got the video all queued up here, and I've got subtitled and everything. So I've only watched it. I've watched it twice, with the second one just being in the background just a little bit ago.
Okay, I watched it twice. Once by myself, and the second time with my parents.
Cool. I do like that loth cat.
Yeah,
the loth cat's cute.
I wasn't too sure about the design at first because it looks different than in the animated show, but it's grown on me.
Yeah, and since I don't really have much of a basis from the show, that didn't even hit me. And hey, Nihilus, how's it going? Analysis here is here to foil our fun.
You will try.
Oh, the sun is here to foil our fun. I see. I missed part of that. Hey, Master. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you. And Nihilus, don't worry. I'm not at least to begin with. I'm not planning to invite anybody else to the stream right now. Partially because I'm wanting to keep it relatively sane. Yeah, and that's the other reason why I wouldn't invite you on anyway, because I wouldn't really want someone on who hasn't seen it, since this is kind of discussing it. So yeah. Okay. So Ahsoka has taken the head off one of those droids, and then magically, Sabine is not in a bacta tank. She needs to be in a bacta tank, but I think I've been pretty clear about that.
Yeah, just a little clear. But to be fair, she could be using bacta patches, and
that's first aid. That's first aid. You need more. The bacta patches are what leads me to believe that she could survive to get to the medical center.
Okay.
Once you're at the medical center, you need the tank, at least for the first day. I mean, I'm actually going to reference in Book of Boba Fett. I haven't watched it in a while, but didn't they show just how much healing in bacta tanks Boba Fett needed from non-lightsaber wounds?
Well, yeah, but he was being digested alive, which involved being bathed in acid.
Lightsabers. Lightsabers, Padawan.
Acid.
Lightsabers. I'm
Stomach
more
acid.
I'm more scared of lightsabers than stomach acid.
I thought stomach acid could eat away at pretty much anything.
I, like I said, I'm more scared of lightsabers because plasma.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So I'm saying if Boba needed Bacta for stomach acid, you're telling me that Sabine doesn't need need Bacta for a lightsaber stab?
Yeah,
Also, remember, Luke
yeah,
Skywalker needed Bacta when his
for a
hand
hand.
got chopped off.
For a hand.
Yeah, which is actually less of a problem because that actually cuts off the hand, cauterizes it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually the wound care is almost done by the lightsaber itself,
Mm-hmm.
and he needed the Bacta.
Yeah.
There's no vital organs in your hand. So I say again, Bacta.
Yeah, yeah, I would say it'd be nice to see, but at the same time, this headcanon that it was used, it just wasn't used on camera or yeah. I mean, I can do
You,
I can
you
headcanon things to make me within reason. I can headcanon things like more than most people can.
I know, and you've actually seen my entire or my entire reasoning about it, where I'm actually okay with her surviving.
Uh-huh.
You, I, I'm just not okay with the after effects, and I think that that's more than most of the people critical of Disney are willing to give.
Oh yeah, very much.
I'm not sitting over here going, look at it go through the metal door. Well, here's the thing with that. It was in the Phantom Menace we saw it go through the metal door, showing just how hot it was. If it
Uh-huh.
was actually that hot, then when Qui-Gon was stabbed, he should have combusted and gone boom. He should not have been able to just sit there or basically bleeding out for like 10 minutes while Obi-Wan fought Darth Maul.
Yeah, and plus Darth Maul had his lightsaber and Qui-Gon for I think 3 seconds.
True, but my point is that it's already inconsistent within the same movie before
Oh
Disney
yeah,
even
yeah.
came into it. So I'm unwilling to take the position of look at what it can do to metal. So because of that, there's no way anyone could survive it. Well,
Uh-huh.
Qui-Gon survived long enough to actually say he trained the boy.
Yeah. Yeah. While a whole bunch of cutscenes are happening and
Hmm.
yeah, he survived for like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes just laying there.
Yeah.
And then like I've mentioned before, Sabine's a lot younger and I know from experience, younger
Hmm.
people heal a lot faster than well, a 60-year-old man.
Actually,
So
that was
I take that
uh,
into account too.
And actually, just to address this, if I recall correctly, Nihilus, it's not that it was a lower power setting that you can adjust on the lightsaber. They had specific sparring lightsabers that were set to lower power settings so that they were safe to spar with. If I recall correctly, it's not that they took a regular lightsaber and turned the power down. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and check.
I
But that's my memory from Jedi Apprentice.
I think Nihilus is actually right. I think there's a metal knob
Hmm.
on the lightsaber handle. And I vaguely remember that being at either Star Wars Explained or Star Wars Theory video,
Eh.
where you turn it and you can lower it and can
I'm more.
hide it.
I'd be more curious about what source he was using because Star Wars Theory and Star Wars Explained don't always use separate headcanon from actual sources.
Oh, okay. And it's been a while. It's
And
it,
I'm not saying you're wrong because, frankly, if you're remembering something along the same lines that analysis, that means that there are two people that at, have a different understanding than I do. And so, without me actually going and fact checking it, I'm not going to automatically say I'm right.
okay. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm not used to there being this much chat. Huh. I, I may go back and take a look at the Jedi Apprentice book just see because now I'm curious.
Uh-huh.
Yes, not so the train sabers. That is what I'm talking about. But it is possible that that the others had their had train sabers and Obi-Wan and had a real one that he turned down to be the equivalent. So that's possible too. Oh, if you're currently reading the Jedi Apprentice books, then I'm more willing to actually get into to actually cede to you because it's been a few years since I read them. Rebels.
Hey, Rebels is awesome.
I'm mostly joking because frankly, if we're going to treat this as canon, then we damn well better treat Rebels as canon since this is coming after it.
Yeah.
It if Padawan would be comfortable with Natsu coming on, I don't mind it. I just
Hell,
don't want
mine.
it. Okay, I just don't want it descending into the spiral that it does sometimes. So yeah, that I'll send it to Natsu. Nothing against anybody else, by the way. It's just that it's just that Natsu and Padawan already know each other and are comfortable with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Just want that to be clear that it's not that I'm specifically excluding anybody. Yeah, there you go, Natsu. Well, did we just hear the rebels say there were no more possible threats? Don't know anything about that.
Mm-mm.
Play the soundbite. Episode 3 was honestly way better than episodes 1 and 2. I was less bored. Why do I suddenly hear boss music? And yes, Adilus, you know Padawan too, but you haven't seen the show.
Sukuigar, hello.
Hello, Natsu.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not too
Hi.
much. We're just about 19 seconds into this lovely show.
No, I can see that because I know we didn't have a chance to talk about it last week due to your tight schedule.
Well, I'm not actually doing episode 2. This is episode 3. This is just the credits. Not credits, the what came
Okay.
before. I was just being
Um,
snarky since I didn't have a chance to be snarky about it before.
no, but to answer your question, I think I answered already well. Remember, Net, this is current canon, not the EU. So
I know that's what I actually was
yeah,
checking myself on when when I
it
made the
wouldn't
comment about rebels. One sec.
Rebel and Rebels. Yes, they're sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was checking myself on when I first went rebels. Then I went, wait, no. If we're talking about this show, we damn well better consider rebels canon
Yeah, no, because
because
this is technically a sequel to Rebels. So
right. So so I have no right to this is something coming from rebels in this case. So
yeah,
I
and
was checking myself on that.
yeah, and in Rebels, I remember there's like a specific episode where Kanan and Ezra are training, and I'm like, their lightsabers had like it was still the blue color, but it was kind of an off blue color.
Which almost makes sense in the way that Disney kind of seems to do lightsabers and blasters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because if it's a blue color, that they're probably associating that blue color with the stun blue.
yeah. Well, I'm guessing it is technically it's like a really low. It's probably like a really low setting like lightsaber bulb type technique where the
Hmm.
plasma is like they've like maybe it's not even plasma going through it. Maybe it's just like some minor energy that just stings if you touch it. You know.
Hmm. And Annihilus, this is kind of the part of the reason why I'm not bringing you in. I don't really want this sort of discussion slash fight spiraling. And that's what you're going to do if I
No,
bring
no
you in.
offense. Yeah, well, no offense to Niles. I've been on a few Discord calls with him, and
Oh no, I love having Niles on. If I weren't actively trying to avoid that, I would bring him on in a hot second. But that's
also he hasn't
but
watched the
that's
show because he
yeah,
doesn't want to.
but I mean for this particular discussion, this
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
it. But that's the exact spiral I don't want to go down.
By the way, Padawan, it's great to hear your voice again, man.
You too.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it either. It won't. No. Yes, I get that you're saying that they should still count. That's also not the discussion we're having.
You guys are weird.
I
That's
hold the
about
reins
right.
for the stream. I reign supreme. Yeah.
Well, it's the same rule as your Discord server, so you know.
Yeah. I don't really do much about it there, but if someone actively pisses me off, which has happened.
Yeah, no, I remember. I'm not even going to talk about it, so let's
No, I
just
know. I'm
get
just
back
saying
on
that
topic.
I am just saying, I have actively gotten brought the hand of the cat on people before.
Oh, he's cutting us off. He said no more early stories for us. No
Aw.
more early access. That's a shame.
Thankfully, he's just kidding. Okay, so yeah, and for the purposes of Rebels and Ahsoka, I will I will concede to there being in power setting changes, but I'm not sure that I'm willing to concede to that for the Phantom Menace.
I would when in the case of the burn, um, Sabine would either like they would either need like to get her to some sort of Bacta really quickly so that they
Yeah,
could do quick heal on the organ damage because
yeah,
otherwise she'd have to spend like maybe a month in like a medical facility with like either getting cybernetics or cloned organs.
yes, and that's part of. I don't think I said that live on stream, but or I might have. But I was talking to Padawan about that before, or I started this. It's the I'm figuring that there was like a back to spray or back to patches which could have been used on the ship as like first aid on the way to the medical facility. Not
That
not 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 enough to actually save her in the long run, but just like in an ambulance, they have things to help keep them stable while rushing to the hospital.
well, my thought process is that Ahsoka's ship uh, Hu Yang's a droid, so they probably have like a medical, like even if it's just like a small
Hmm.
area, like a medical stabilization, and they're still technically on Lothal, so the hospital would be like what 10 minutes away, not
Hmm.
even that.
Yeah,
Probably not even that with be on a ship.
and in Mandalorian, and this is part of why I was thinking about of the back to spray. Wasn't there that big thing about about Mando needing to take his helmet off so that the droid could use the back to spray on him to save his life?
Yeah,
So that's why I am
I
why I'm
forgot
more than
about
willing
that.
to say that they do have back to spray. It would, for the love of God, it wouldn't save her life long run, but it could stabilize her to
Yeah,
get
well,
her there.
especially I'm guessing Lothal at this point probably has like a competent hospital. Probably didn't during the Imperial days, but like they probably got a competent hospital now, so they and because where Sabine got stabbed was like what, maybe 2 minutes away from the hospital or the city itself.
Yep,
Then
and they have a ship to get her there in. They don't need to pick her up and carry her.
and here's the interesting part: we don't know how long Sabine has been unconscious. They're it could have been like 3 days to a week.
I suppose that's a point, but
Well,
it felt
the only
very.
reason why I bring up this point is because there's always the time discrepancy. Like take Empire Strikes Back, that's implied to that's implied to have either taken place across a couple of days, or it could have even taken place across a couple of weeks or months.
Do you want to know why I don't
That's
think?
true.
Do you want to know why I don't think that's the case here? And if that were the case, then it would appear that Ahsoka didn't do anything about that robot that she knew was the droid that she knew was waiting back at the other place. She just she sat there and did
Oh
nothing.
yeah, you have a point. You have a
You know
point.
what? Well, all this stuff is going on. I don't think that it's reasonable to assume that Ahsoka just fucked off for 3 days and did nothing.
I could be wrong, but wasn't there a time lot or a time within after decapitating a droid that Sabine had to do something, or else
Yeah, but you think
the memory would.
that she wouldn't have been? No, actually, you are wrong there. It's that there was
Okay.
it's that there was a time frame once she started the process.
Okay. I couldn't remember if that was the only time limit or the only
Yeah,
time limit, or if it was overall.
yeah, that's all it was. It's just that
Okay.
once you started it, it was you go through till to completion, or you're screwed.
Okay. I was also going to bring up with the NATO said that Lothal probably had a decent hospital, and then with Hera being a general in the New Republic, she probably could pull some strings to get Sabine the best care possible.
Once again, and show us that best care.
Huh?
Well,
Yeah,
show us. I get it. It's show don't tell, but
yeah.
to reinforce your point, Padawan, she's also one of the heroes of Lothal. So it would be it would be a crime to refuse medical aid for her.
Yeah,
that's true too.
That's very true. And that's something that I don't even think of because I'm not as bonded to these characters. But yeah.
No, Padawan and I saw the final battle of Lothal, so we know we know what happened.
Oh, definitely. I was just saying that that's a difference between us.
Sorry,
I'm going to say that that kid, I would agree that it would have been better if they'd added context to how the organs heal from lightsaber wounds if they want to actually do things like this, so we don't have to headcanon everything to decide if it makes sense or not.
Right.
I would have at least had her hooked up to like a hose, and mask.
And at that point, then we can go, okay, they're doing something about it. But here she's just laying in bed. They're not giving us anything to just kind of put our hands on to grasp it. Does that make sense?
So you could probably say that's a problem execution wise.
Yeah,
that's something Dave didn't think about.
Yep. And Dave and whoever else he had helping him, and you'd think that people who are supposed to be as competent as they are, that they would be able to understand these issues was at least as well as us chuckleheads in the audience.
There's still that I'm not going to bring it up. Well, I could bring it up again, but I'm probably not going to. There's still the issue in episode 1 that's bothering me.
Which is
so Ahsoka goes to get the to get the artifact, right? The little star map. The enemy sends droids to attack her, which makes sense, of course, because they're after the map too. Then they self-destruct and create like a nuclear class level huge explosion.
Which I liked, by the way. I liked that.
I like that. No, I like that too. It gave almost like a sense of urgency, but like
but
you put bombs in your droids with the full intention of like making sure the enemy doesn't get the map, which is fine, except for the fact that that map is your only lead to getting Thrawn back.
Yes, when you step back and think about it, you go, wait.
Yeah, I thought it was a little overkill at first too.
Okay,
I was like, what?
But before Natsu brought up the thing about the map, I was actually counting that explosion as a plus, because typically when you see a robot go, I'm gonna self-destruct, you just need to get basically a grenade throw away from it and you're fine. So no tension. These things go to self-destruct, and you need to be out of the city limits.
I'm a nihilist. I'm going to quote what you just said as the Turian counselor. Ah, yes, context. Oh, we have dismissed that claim.
So, yeah.
Is it possible that I don't know if that really helps or not, but if Balin and Shin and then Morgan are not really eye to eye as much as they think they are, I don't know if that helps the case at all.
I think they're united in their vision to find Thrawn, but that's kind of their only unity.
we find out later in this episode that they really are just allies of the moment, because the Padawan, because the learner does ask Balin in about what happens when we find Thrawn, and he's like, I don't know.
He gave very vague answers.
He said power.
Yeah, power. Sorry, I forgot the exact.
But basically,
it kind of feels like it feels pretty clear to me that it's an uneasy alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, yeah, I didn't even need to hear words. I could tell by the body language. Just by the way, like Shin is looking at her and Balin is looking at her and she's looking at them. The way they're talking to each other, I'm like, oh yeah, these people do not trust each other one bit.
And the way that they kind of snipe at each other.
Yeah. That's just an old witch tale. I remember it as a fairy tale from childhood in the Jedi Order.
Mm-hmm. And also in this episode when they get close enough to scan it, Morgan goes, I can't believe you let them get this far.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's real confidence in your allies there.
Yep. So we move past 19 seconds?
Yeah.
after a half hour?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, but I will say this. I'm trying to figure out. I know he's kind of a nobody character, but I want to know what Marek's whole role in this is.
Everybody's trying to figure that out.
I'm not trying to figure out who he is. I'm trying to figure out what's his role in this.
Actually, that's something interesting that could almost explain the droid thing. He might have been behind the actual droids, because whereas we know that there's the uneasy alliance with Balin and Elsbeth, we really don't know anything about what the hell Marek is doing.
Right.
Well, we have seen these droids before in season 2 of Mando. They're HK model droids, and apparently they have Padawan probably already knows this too, but they have the insignia of the 7th Fleet on them.
Ah, okay.
And for those who know, Thrawn was the head of the 7th Fleet, so.
Mm-hmm. But what I'm kind of trying to say is that he could have been the one to send those droids. It's with the preference that if we don't get the map, I'd rather it be destroyed. he could have a slight.
That would
he
actually
could have,
make sense if
he,
that
he,
was Marek's intention.
yeah, he could have a slightly different agenda than the rest without telling anybody.
Mm-hmm. That could be one
Now
of the
I'm
big
curious.
reveals.
Now I'm curious.
But and I'm sorry, Padawan, this is going to be me snarking about Filoni for a moment here. That would require Filoni to actually make intelligent writing decisions.
I mean, broken clock is right. It's right twice a day.
True enough.
To be fair, he has made intelligent writing decisions. He made the
Yes,
he did
I know.
he made the Lawless arc back in Clone Wars, so you know.
I'm just being an ass.
I know you are.
I'm not adding anybody besides Nasa. We've already tangented for a half hour on 20 seconds.
All right, I'll keep my mouth shut until there's an actual topic then.
No, I'm just looking at you. I'm just looking at Broadus, going, I'm not adding another person.
Oh, that's my dad.
I thought that was your dad. Yeah, and I actually liked the Mortis arc. The Mortis arc was good. I did specifically watch that.
Oh, so you did watch Mortis?
Yeah. I've actually watched Mortis, and I would say that of everything I've seen in the Clone Wars, that was the best.
Okay. Yep. I
Fun
really agree.
fact, Troy Denning looked at that episode, and that's where he got the whole thing to incorporate them into Fate of the Jedi.
Oh, I know. That's actually part of the reason why I watched the Mortis arc.
Nice.
Because I wanted to have that background, because I'd heard something about that before I got to it.
You did.
All hail Abeloth. I'm looking forward to when you actually get to Fate of the Jedi.
That'll be a whiles away because I'm still in Clone Wars stuff.
Oh, I know. Okay. Your aptitude for the Force would fall short of the ball. Now, here's something that kind of annoys me with Hui Lang, or however you say it.
Hu Yang.
Hu Yang. Okay.
Hu Yang. Yeah.
He's been one of the primary people trying to get Ahsoka to actually train her. And once Ahsoka agrees to train her, then Hu Yang just becomes the biggest doubter, saying that she shouldn't be trained. And it's like, would you make up your goddamn mind?
Wait a minute, this whole operation was your idea.
Yes. I mean, well, he does make it clear. He's like, you both gave up on training, but also, she has the lowest Force level possible. The Jedi Order would not have accepted her. Maybe he's trying to tell Ahsoka something.
Or he knows Sabine is a rebel. He's using reverse psychology, telling her how bad of an idea it is for her to train, because how weak she is.
That's true.
That's
that
actually
makes sense.
that's not a bad point.
Well, sorry.
With all my criticisms of Filoni aside, that is something that I could actually see being something that I do. That it's a very straight line adaptation from her being a rebel to saying, okay, so then how do we motivate her? By telling her she can't do something. That actually makes sense.
No, because once he planted the seeds, then he's trying to imply to Ahsoka, yeah, she can't do it, but also at the same time trying to imply to Sabine, yeah, she can't do it, and then trying to push them to prove him wrong, basically.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's a straight line adaptation that completely works. I'm willing to accept that.
I'm open to the possibility if that's what Dave intended.
Yeah, until I see something that shows me otherwise, I'm going to accept that.
See, broken clock, right? At least twice.
Yep. Anakin never got to finish my training. I walked away from him. Well, I don't know what to tell you about that.
I hope they
And of
do.
course,
I hope they do explain that situation more in the show. That's
I really need to go back and watch the episode with Ahsoka and the time travel. I really do need to see that.
it's not
I'm
Wait,
exactly time travel.
are you talking about the world
I,
between worlds and Rebels?
yes.
Yeah, that's
it's
not
like
time travel. That's a side dimension with portals throughout history.
Yeah, that's
have you played
time travel.
God
It's
of
just
War Ragnarok?
there's a lot of there are many different forms of time travel. What you just described is one of the forms of time travel.
Hmm.
Not so you know me in time travel.
Oh yeah, no, I know you love time travel, and you know I despise time travel, but
Yeah, and what you just described is a form of time travel.
I guess it is technically.
Yes. So I really need to go watch that for myself at some point. And sorry, Sammy, like I've been saying to everybody, no.
At least as far as I'm aware, this time travel still follows the rules of Lost.
Eh, yeah,
Uh,
and what you've described to me of the time travel rules of Lost, I'm not impressed.
What you mean? Like whatever happened happened?
Yes, that has its own problems. It seems straightforward,
What
but
like a
there's a lot of
You've never heard of a bootstrap paradox?
Oh, I have plenty of times. That is part of the problem.
I get it. You can't accept it just always was. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you now. Just
Hmm. There are ways to make that. There are actually ways to make it work, but you almost never see it in a show. You will see it in books at times.
oh, Sammy's
But
here.
hmm yeah, and Sammy, the reason why I'm saying no is that I'm actually trying not to veer off topic too much, and not go into the anti Disney spiral that we typically do. I mean, we're still taking forever to do it, but I think we are actually staying on topic this
mhm.
time. So yeah, it like I said to everyone else, it's nothing against you. Just it's just a different way I'm trying to run the stream this time.
Yeah.
Part of the problem there, Savvy, is that even if you try to keep it on subject, the more people I bring in, the more tangenting there will happen, and that will partially be my own fault. I will take
Well,
responsibility for that.
if you want, I'll bow out so he can join. Because unless you think it's going to be too
I'd rather just keep
chaotic.
it. I would rather just keep it as we have it right now, if you don't mind. If you don't mind, because
Okay.
I was originally just intending it to be me and Padawan, but I've added you. It's fine, but I don't want to keep on monkeying around with that.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, so we get to an actual training sequence. Now, oh no, as I mentioned to Padawan in the group chat, my thought when watching this was, wouldn't it have been cool if they actually showed training of someone who is actually significantly force sensitive, rather than somebody who is force sensitive in the way that everyone is?
I think I know what you're implying.
Yeah, I think the name might start with an R.
Revan?
E. Revan. No, I think Ray. Actually showing
Ravis? No, you don't know Ravis. He's a person.
but but I
I know.
but even so, this show does deserve props for showing real training.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I really wish that this training was what was given to other characters, that doesn't diminish it doing something good with what it has. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah, I
so I'm not
noticed
going
she had her kind of. Sorry.
I'm not going to take away from Ahsoka just because I wish that it had been used someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
No, I noticed this because I back in the day I used to take karate, and I noticed this. This is pretty much just a kata in all of its purest forms.
Yes, it is. For myself, I actually did taekwondo, and
Oh, nice.
I also have learned how to fence.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Show off.
I also took taekwondo. I didn't get very far in it because I kept getting sick from the little kids there.
I was one of the little kids. The fencing I did well actually grown up.
Makes sense.
And I was trying to figure out what while they were doing this. It's because at first I was thinking, well, why aren't we using a training saber? Why is it just this beam of light? And then and then I kind of had to eat my thought at the end when he shows this, because it actually shows where she hit and how she hit and the angles and everything. And I thought that was kind of cool.
I thought it was pretty cool too. Uh, huh.
So yeah, not
She
not
had
much to say about.
some successes and some failures there, which makes
Hmm.
sense. Like you're not first couple times you're not going to get every single move right.
Oh, of
Plus,
course.
she's probably a bit rusty. She hasn't
Mm-hmm.
like
Well,
held a sword or saber in years.
that does make me want to tangent back just a moment to the end of episode one. With them asking her if she'd kept up in her training, and her saying, "Well, obviously not." No, obviously you have a little bit. Otherwise, you wouldn't have lasted for the 2 or 3 minutes that fight went. You would have been downed by the actual force user.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe she remembers like some of the more basic details,
Oh
but some of
yeah,
the harder stuff like she couldn't really get at the moment.
yeah, and I'm just saying, they in their words they tried to make it sound like she didn't know what she was doing, and the actions are she obviously knew a little bit about what she was doing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Or they're trying to make Sabine a little bit more humble, like she was. I
Yeah,
don't know.
which which I do get. I'm just saying that I'm not saying that it's a flaw. I'm saying that
Uh-huh.
what all I'm trying to say is that the words don't match the actions, and
Mm.
that could actually he come to late at some point later. We could find out that she was actually doing some practice and stuff. That's
Oh.
all I'm saying. I'm not pointing out a flaw. Just
Uh-huh.
that there is a discrepancy.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Not all discrepancies are flaws.
To
Okay.
to be to be fair, I do like the journey that they're taking her. That she's not super connected to the Force
Mm-hmm.
again because it reminds me of a Scout from Yoda Dark Rendezvous. How she wasn't super strong in the Force and had to rely more on her skills and her technique, and only had some Force ability.
But the way that they're making her out to be, I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels to me like they're having her be connected to the Force in the same way that everyone is connected to the Force. Like George Lucas saying that there are midichlorians in everybody, but so everybody could, in theory, learn to use a little bit of it, and that's what it feels like is what her level of Force sensitivity is. That's what bothers me. Not that she isn't and really powerful in the Force, but that she is almost crippled in the Force. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and sometimes that can do with emotions. Believe it or not, sometimes like
Yeah.
if you're
Yes, it can, but the midi-chlorian count isn't going to change based on your emotions, and I'm pretty sure that's what Hu Lang is, what Hu Yang is basing it off of.
To be fair, Yu Yang only said she had lower midichlorian count than all the
Yeah.
Jedi he's trained, and Jedi only take. And
Yes.
he would only train the people in the Jedi Order, and the Jedi Order only takes people with pretty high
Yes, and
midichlorian counts.
and keep in mind, I am very careful with my words. I said
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. This is the impression I'm getting.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. Yep.
because I am actually more than willing to find out that my impression is wrong, but that's
Mm-hmm.
the impression that they've been giving me. And but I ain't perfect on reading everything, so I could be wrong. I'd be happier if I found out that actually. Question for the two of you from Rebels: did she ever have the Han Solo "I have a bad feeling" sort of thing? Like a preternatural warning that something's going to go bad.
Most characters said that at one point or another.
Ah, dang it! So you can't use
I
it the same
think
way that Han Solo.
no. Well, even like people who aren't like super strong in the Force, sometimes they can get a bad feeling,
Yeah,
and
but
that
it's
in a
how
way that is the
often.
Force speaking to you. You know?
Yes, but it's how often Han Solo got those feelings is what shows that he is more force sensitive. And if she's one of the people that had things like that happen more often than most, it would actually be a sign to me that she is significantly more force sensitive.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet, and I wish I had now. Star Wars Explained has a video that is titled "All the Hints That Sabine Was Force Sensitive in Rebels," but I have not
Oh,
watched it
if you could send
yet.
me the link, then I'll take a look at it later.
Okay.
Because if he's actually sourcing it from the show, then I've got no problem taking that as
Well,
something real.
there is kind of a hint of it in which Rebels? It's in season 3, Trials of the Darksaber.
Hey,
Oh,
hamster.
yeah.
I know you remember that episode, Padawan.
Uh
And even Kanan's like, you're when she's using the Darksaber, while holding it and training with Kanan, she says the blade feels lighter. He says you're connecting with it. It's becoming a part of you.
Yeah.
Do you remember that I had that big ass theory about there being something living in that blade?
Okay, yeah. Padawan, have you heard this theory already?
Possibly, but I don't remember.
It's never going to come to
Okay,
fruition
so Net has a theory.
now that the dark saber has been broken. I'm never going to find out.
Yeah, Net had a theory
Uh-huh.
that the Darksaber holds the spirit of of Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian Jedi in the current canon,
Uh-huh.
and that the spirit is guided by those that it sees, almost like kind of Thor's hammer, those that it sees as worthy. And the reason why Din had so much trouble controlling it is that he kind of wasn't worthy.
Mm-hmm.
No offense.
Yeah, because they made a point of it getting heavier the more that he kind of strayed.
Yeah.
So what makes it heavier? What makes it easier or harder to use? It seems to me that there's something else going on. And wouldn't it make sense for Vizsla to want to be able to guide its people through the generations?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of does make sense considering Mandalorians do kind of have a belief of like similar. It's very similar to ancestor worship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
And
can Jedi do that though?
this is another big conversation we had. There's no reason why
not traditionally.
No, but think about this. And I know that all of you people who like to bitch about gray Jedi are going to jump down my throat about this. But a Jedi can use a dark ability without immediately going fucking dark.
Well, yeah.
That's
And
true.
It's like,
and Mandalorians are very practical.
uh-huh.
If if he decided that this was important enough, he could have done this one act.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Because
One possibility. Sorry. Oh,
like a person who does one bad thing isn't necessarily doesn't all of a sudden, oh, you're evil now.
Yes, and I maintain that it is possible to be a great Jedi, but you're probably not going to remain one for long, because
Right.
if taking one step down the dark automatically makes you dark, well then how do you redeem? If you can
Right.
travel one way or the other, if you can redeem or fall, there is a midpoint in the journey,
Mm-hmm.
and that midpoint is gray.
Yeah.
Now, I would also posit that there is a possibility of someone with insane emotional and mental fortitude that they can ride that line without going insane, but we're probably never going to see that person.
Right. Mace Windu is probably the closest we could get.
Yeah, because didn't he use some dark in his lightsaber technique or something?
He used the energy of their anger to fuel his fighting style. Is how I take it.
Yeah,
So he kind of uses their anger against them.
and that, my friends, is dark.
yeah, but Mace Windu himself never gets angry.
Yes, but
That's
he is still harnessing the power. He's still harnessing the power of anger.
to me. It just goes to the testament of how powerful a Jedi Mace Windu is.
That he can
Because
actually
this,
dip into that he can dip into the dark side and stay light. Hello.
yeah, and well, to be fair, he was kind of affected after the duel of Palpatine. You can
Yeah,
kind of tell in that moment. But keep in mind, this man also is head of the Jedi Order.
you are making my arguments for me,
I
Natso.
know, I know.
You're actually explaining why it's okay. I never said
I'm
that
saying that
everyone.
not everybody's. I'm saying not everybody has his
I
will.
I didn't I posit that to begin with.
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
I stated that I believed that a person could exist that would fit the bill. I didn't say many. I actually said that it would be exceedingly rare. And
The
now
problem is that some. Sorry.
and now you're arguing for Mace Window fitting the bill.
Yeah,
So
but
you like I said, you're arguing my point.
yeah, I guess in that sense I am.
Uh
But
huh.
like, but one thing. God, what was I gonna say? I completely lost my train of thought. Uh, yeah, hopefully it'll come back to me because
Okay.
I was gonna say something, but it's gone now.
But originally, what got us onto this was when you were talking about Sabine wielding the dark saber, and it feeling lighter, and then Kanan saying that was her bonding with the weapon, and
Mm-hmm.
I would actually say that even if my theory is correct, I would say that would be a sign that she was more force sensitive, because to actually bond with the spirit in the blade, I'd think that some level of force sensitivity would be extremely helpful.
Yeah,
Also,
even if it's not a large level of force sensitivity.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is that what I got the impression of is that she had like a 1%, and and some of these hints make it so that maybe she has a 10 or 15%. And if that's the
Mhm.
case, I would be I would be much happier about her doing the training and stuff.
That
Does
implies
that
most common Padawan candidates have like a 50%.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. But do you see the difference between me saying 1% versus 10 or 15? With
Yeah, I get
1%,
what you
I'm
mean.
just going, really? 10 or 15? Okay. She's
Mhm.
never going to be as great as the others, but if she actually uses these techniques to help her already significant martial training, she could still defeat an actual full Jedi with just enhancements.
Mhm.
So if that's the case, I'm less annoyed.
I'm guessing that probably is the case. I'm just hoping that we don't get like a Legend of Korra moment where she can suddenly use like epic over the top
Force
force
storm.
powers.
if
Yeah.
she starts mind controlling people, if she starts throwing things all around the room, if she starts using powerful force abilities, we're going to revisit this conversation.
Oh, absolutely. Uh,
And it won't be as
oh,
tame.
Yes.
oh,
but it,
I
but
remember what it was. It
but
was a joke.
but if she uses it to subtly help her other abilities, then I'm actually all for this.
I remember
Mhm.
what I was gonna say. It was a joke. It was gonna be like, it's a shame most Star Wars fans don't like Mace Windu, because he called Ahsoka Tano a citizen.
Yeah. And here's the thing, I know nothing about that other than people talking about it. So it didn't
It's
happen in my
because
mind.
mind you, she said it first. She said
No, no,
not as a
no.
Jedi, but as a citizen of the Republic. And when
Yeah,
she asked, "What's Anakin doing? How's he doing?" I'm sorry, citizen. This is a matter for the council.
yeah. I've seen the clip, and I've always thought to myself, what is your guys' problem with this? He's actually respecting what she just said.
I
That's
think
always been
it's.
that's always been my reaction to that, because she just said I'm not a Jedi, and he confirmed, okay, citizen.
I think it's because they think he's still bitter
Yeah,
because she left the order.
Well,
I just
and he
don't
was.
have I just don't have that big of an opinion on Mace Windu, but that's because I really haven't read much of the Clone War era stuff.
And after the council accused her of treason, all he said was, "Oh, this was just a great trial." He didn't actually like apologize for accusing her of such a big crime. He was like, "Oh, this was all part of your great trial. Tough
Well,
luck." But
to be fair,
so,
each member on the council kind of did that. Like, I think Plo Koon apologized, and
but,
when he said "great trial," my thought process was like, okay, so within like the next week or so, they're gonna knight her at like 16 years old.
Hmm. Yeah,
She's gonna be the first like underage Jedi Knight.
which is actually a point. I hadn't really thought of that before, but if they were calling it her trial, typically a Jedi, a Padawan has to go through a trial of some sorts before being
And yeah,
before
she
being
went through it.
yeah. And if they
yeah,
were acknowledging it as her trial, that's almost as good as saying you're about to be you're about to be a Jedi Knight.
Yeah,
that's true.
that was actually, to be fair, that was actually kind of. I feel like Mace Windu was kind of implying that by saying that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which hadn't occurred to me, but I also really hadn't thought about it too much until this discussion. But yeah, that
Yeah,
seems
I.
pretty clear to me that they were getting ready to knight her.
They probably wouldn't have knighted her that day. They
Well,
probably would
yes,
have
but
like
they were getting
deliberated on it
ready
for the
to.
next week or so. But then like, yeah,
They
it's
they
time for your trials.
yeah they might have wanted to meet and go. Okay, how are we going to go about doing it? Because, eh.
They want to do a shepherd. Okay, shepherd. Okay, you're a spectre now. Type of deal.
Hmm.
Or
Oh,
shepherd. Or yeah.
Well, think about specifically what Ahsoka went through. She was falsely accused of a crime that she didn't commit. Her own best friend framed her, and then yeah, her own best friend framed her, and
hmm
None of the most, maybe only like one or two in the order actually believed she was innocent.
Yep.
And so she had her great trial, her great period of doubt, and she came through it despite all of the charges put against her.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm guessing like after a week they would have called in Anakin to, I think we need to discuss your Padawan's knighthood.
Yep. So I've got to say that I did enjoy Ahsoka just wandering around her, just randomly whacking
Oh,
her.
yeah, she was toying with Sabine big time.
Yep.
Well, that
Like,
was her way of testing her. That was her way of
oh,
like,
I know, but it was just funny to watch
Oh,
because
it was.
you because you'd see her just kind of reach out with it, getting ready to do it.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and I know that there are some people who probably think that this part they're spending too long. Well, guys, guess what? This is exactly what you guys what you guys, including me, stated that we wanted to happen with Ray. So
Uh-huh.
why bitch about it now? You're bitching about it now because you don't want to give the show a chance.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I didn't bitch about the training months. Pardon my
Oh, I
language,
wasn't
but
saying
I
you,
didn't.
but
Yeah,
but I'm saying I've seen a few videos where that's in there. I've seen tweets and stuff, and it's like,
but
eh,
it's not the way I wanted it.
yeah. I mean, like I was saying before, I would have preferred this in a different show, but that shouldn't take away that this show actually did it. So yeah,
Not really preferred it in a different show, but in a film.
I call films
Well, yeah.
shows at times. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
But here's the benefit of doing it in a show like this. You actually have much more runtime than a single movie.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
so you have more time to do things like this. And frankly, they shouldn't be stepping down the amount of time for each episode. They should be keeping it at a runtime of about 40 to 45 minutes, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
This is not on TV. You don't need to be you worrying about an exact time frame for him to hit his slot.
Right.
Give yourself the time you need to do it, and then use the time you give yourself well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this episode was a little too short, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it told the story it needed to tell. At the same time, I would have liked a longer episode too.
Yeah, there's things that probably could have been fleshed out. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't tell you exactly where they should have been. This is where I will actually say it. What I was saying, us chuckleheads watching us, I am referring to myself there too. Just
Mm-hmm.
because I can point out that here's something that could have been done better. I can't necessarily tell you how it should have been done better. I'm mostly saying I know it could have been done better, and
Mm-hmm.
you guys are the professionals, so you should have done something better that I might not be able to think of to tell
Right.
you. Sometimes I can specifically say what I think should have been done, but a lot of times no. I can just put out the flaw, but when asked as to how to fix it, well, I don't know. When I go to a restaurant, I can't necessarily say, yeah, how to cook the thing better, but I can say it was burnt.
Right. Or bland,
Yes, just
One
because
thing
you
I
don't
do
know.
really like about this
which I'm
show
not
is
saying.
that it's going slow but quick at the same time.
It's starting to do that. The first episode was slow. Just saying.
I've had no problem with it, but as we've known, I can get into a show like just like that, no problem.
Yep. So yeah.
And I was already invested with Star Wars Rebels, and this was a sequel to that, so I was already
Hmm.
totally invested.
I
And
was actually I was watching Rebels before I watched the Clone Wars, so
and to
that
be
was kind.
completely honest, is that the fact that you're invested with Rebels would make a lot of the scenes that just seem like throwaway to me be more like, oh hey, we're seeing this person that we had before,
Hmm.
and getting the good feelings from it. So that is a little bit of a difference there too.
Yeah, like Ryder Azagi, I was surprised how happy it made me to see him in live action because he was.
Hmm.
I mean, I didn't dislike the character, but he wasn't one of my absolute favorites in the Rebels show. But it was cool to see him in live action.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that they actually because I know you already know that Clancy Brown
Hmm.
he did like Berg in Mandalorian and with Savage
Right.
Opress.
Hmm.
So I know for a fact that they based his likeness for Ryder Azadi to look kind of like Clancy's face.
Hmm.
So yeah, I do agree with you there. When you see Clancy pop up as Ryder Azadi in live action, I'm like, oh wow, that's
Oh,
clever.
cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is actually exactly why I wanted to have Padawan on in particular, because Padawan and I know you like Rebels as well, not so, but since Padawan is coming from the just fan of Disney, Star Wars in general, and fan of Rebels, it's really a good counterpoint to my somewhat cynicism at this point, and the fact that I know almost nothing about Rebels. So that's part of why I really wanted to get Padawan on, because I kind of really wanted to get the two counterpoints in one place where we wouldn't be sniping at each other, because a lot of the people who come from the perspective you have, Padawan, would have
Hmm.
been yelling their ass off at me for some of my snarky takes that I've had tonight. You know what I mean?
Uh huh. Oh yeah.
And yeah, so I think that makes this a little bit more of a unique stream than I think almost any of the other streams I've seen on Ahsoka, because
Hmm.
it's almost everything else is look at this, this is crap, or look at this is great,
Yeah.
it's all one big echo chamber,
Well,
Right.
one way
that's
or the
because
other.
Padawan's a level-headed individual. Uh,
Yes, and actually
Well, I won't go that far.
well, that's actually, if you look at the description I made for this stream, I actually you put in there that Padawan is a reasonable Disney Star Wars fan. That's actually how I described Padawan.
well, I wouldn't even just call him a Disney Star Wars fan. I just call him a Star Wars fan since he has looked into the expanded universe a couple
Oh,
times.
I know, but I'm specifically trying to point out that he likes Disney Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the point of that. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that in the pejorative blah 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 blah. I, I'm just
Yeah.
saying in that he's a fan of Disney Star Wars, not that
yeah.
he isn't a fan of the others.
Out of
I know. I'm
out of
just
all the people on the stream, I'm the Disney Star Wars fan.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I know what you're saying.
I'm just like reasserting the point that he's what I would call a pretty genuine fan.
Oh, definitely, and that actually does bear repeating for anybody listening here. So, and so the clarification is actually appreciated,
Thank you. Hmm.
because just because we know what I mean by that doesn't mean that the audience would.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. And now we get to a part that I really should have discussed well on stream instead of just in the back room with Padawan. I take issue with this. Hera says basically says is Thrawn's back. How do you know? Source, trust me, bro. Then proceeds to take pot shots at the senator that we all know is a problem. I'm assuming that each one of these people has the highest security clearances if they're able to give her orders, right?
In a
Hmm.
sense, I agree, but in a sense, Senator Ziono should not have that level of power in the government,
But he
especially
does.
since he didn't actually fight to
No,
create it.
no, I get that. But do you agree that he has the clearance?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes. So this is important for my point that he does, in fact, have the clearance. It's she has no reason to hold back that she has actual maps that she has a Jedi working with her. She has real reasons that she could actually spell out to them why this is important. But she
Well,
all
for
she did
whatever reason, nobody takes the Jedi seriously here anymore.
that's
It
fine.
has.
But if you're going to be asking for permission, then you need to then she needs to put her strongest case forward. And if
Yeah.
she doesn't put her strongest case forward, then and like I was explaining to Padawan, and and she should have begged for forgiveness afterwards. Ever hear the saying, it is better to beg forgiveness than ask permission?
I have now.
Yes, I'm saying that to Natsa.
I've heard that expression before,
Yeah,
and to be honest with you, it's like asking forgiveness of Borsk Phalia, but worse
yeah. And
because this guy's a coward.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is that I get what Padawan was saying that she didn't that she didn't expect them to grant it anyway. So my point there is, well, then you should do it, and then present it as a fait accompli. We had this information, we had to act on it immediately.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. She should have just screw the council, just go for it.
Mm-hmm. Or if she was going to talk to the council, she should have put her best case forward. As it is, I, and if I were trying if I were trying to be a bad faith here, I would say that Hera was actually looking for an excuse not to help. I know that's not the case,
Yeah.
but that is what it looks like. You see, this is almost like please. But please tell me I can't go. Because after she gave no source, she then started making fun of the senator. Yeah, that's going to end well. You know what I mean?
Kind of like her style because it's bludgeoning through bureaucracy, but that's just me.
Well,
I
yes,
like the style
but,
too.
but not so. Here's the problem: she is not in the same room as them, so your version, so your perspective of taking on bureaucracy won't work. If she can't shoot bullets at them, it will go through the holograms. I know your take on bureaucracy.
It
She might.
involves violence, but even words and everything.
Yes, but
Like it actually bothers
but
me that the fact that Ziono didn't serve in the war isn't being held over his head
oh, I
by
agree with that.
other
But
political
but
parties.
but what I'm trying to say is that at words wielded as weapons is a very real thing. What she did was she wielded her words against herself because she took a shot that had zinged at him and then ricocheted off of him and came back at her. How great are those words when they actually hurt you, not the other person?
Okay, I do see your point. She probably could have played that meeting a little better.
Yes. I mean, hell, if she were subtle about it, she could have actually used the same intact, but with getting the other senators to look at him and go, yeah, no, she's got a point. But because she took the bludgeoning approach, it completely backfired. And from what they said before, this is not her first time dealing with them, so she shouldn't be surprised by how things would be taken.
And what do you expect? She's a soldier, not a politician. But I do see your point. She should be more of a loose cannon. And
Yes. And keep in mind, I'm saying she shouldn't have even had this meeting.
yeah, she should not. It's a waste of time.
Hmm. Now, what I would like
Interesting.
would be if Mon Mothma had actually talked to her first and kind of like warned her that he's going to be here or something like that. That like I know that this is going to be a problem. Here's how you should handle it, or something, because Mon Mothma is supposed
Try
to
to
be
be civil.
it's supposed to be, yeah, it's supposed to be the diplomat. So she kind of is using this meeting as almost an ambush on Hera, which I don't like the way that it kind of looks that Mon Mothma is almost taking this other jackass's side.
I wouldn't go that far, but it does seem strange that she didn't inform Hera that Ziona was going to be there. But then again, that one guy was going to be there, so she could have tried to. That one guy told her that the rebel officer that she was talking to.
Which is a point. And also, to be fair to this, we don't know if somebody may have actually informed this council that they were getting ready to do something. She might have been getting ready to do loose cannon shit, and then she got called. That there is also that possibility.
Yeah.
But again, we aren't told any of this. So
Well, it could be that they have like a ship fleet check-in system.
yeah, but here's the thing. One of the things that's always bothered me about people defending The Last Jedi is when they start writing the show for Rian Johnson. And that's what when we come up with some of these headcanons to make it make sense, that's what it starts feeling like we're doing. It starts feeling like we're writing the show for them. And that's not our job.
Yeah, I see your point.
I mean, I do see your point, but if I just have the root point of how much do I really want to enjoy this? So how much am I willing to
That is a fair viewpoint. It actually is a very fair viewpoint. It in for some of us who've gotten just as annoyed as we have just in general,
uh-huh.
some of the enjoyment starts coming from picking it apart with a toothpick.
Yeah.
I mean, there are times that is fun, but if you're just watching it to have fun with it by itself, that's where your viewpoint comes in, and it's a very fair viewpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I can see yours too. It's just and I respect you because you at least try to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I've seen.
And you can tell as we're talking about it, I'm actually thinking of ways to make things work as opposed to just shitting on it.
Yeah.
You're not just going in there going, oh, this is garbage. Why am I watching this? No, you're actually trying to figure out why this could work, why this could work, how this could work.
Yeah,
it's because you're a fan and you're analyzing something because you're like, well, that didn't really work. They should have done this, but they could do this. This could go somewhere good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, just as an EU person, why did they have to name the kid Jason? Why?
Because it was a reference to Jason Solo. That's the only.
I know.
I think it was like a respectful nod. They're not copying the character.
I do not ever see them picking anything out of the expanded universe as respectful. Every time they pick something out of the expanded universe, I want to find whoever decided to do it and hit them.
Well, they didn't name him Jason Solo. That would have been a little weird.
They named him Jason.
Yeah, I know. But that's just the first name.
It's also a very specific first name.
You don't have
It's not like Tom.
Well, that would be really weird in Star Wars. I'm
Well,
being
yeah.
honest.
But you
I
do
agree.
get my point.
Uh,
It may be it may not be weird in that world, but it's very specific to us. Is my point.
okay.
When they name somebody Jason, anyone who knows the expanded universe knows that it is a
Jason
reference
Solo.
to Jason Solo,
Yeah.
and it and the reason why things like that annoy me is, okay, you guys decanonized the expanded universe because
Mm-hmm.
you can do your own thing. How
Uh-huh.
about doing your own thing? So that's why that just is just like a little poke every time. It doesn't
Hmm.
piss me off to a large degree, but it's when you get poked enough times, it adds up.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
But so yeah, this meeting goes badly to nobody's shock, including Harris. And like I've said to Padawan, my saying that this is her trying to get out of helping is bad faith. I don't believe it. She's going to be coming to help at some point. She's just
Mm-hmm.
been barred from helping at this moment in time. Hell,
Mm-hmm.
when they lose contact due to the comms being jammed, that might actually let her revisit this, or actually go, screw you guys. This is an emergency. We're going, and now I'm going to beg forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, if she ends up being right and Thrawn does return, she don't need no forgiveness. But I
no,
get what you mean.
no, that's what the saying means. You beg forgiveness, and especially if you are right, the
Yeah.
forgiveness comes immediately. But that's it. It's you coming after the fact and going, I'm so sorry I did the thing that I know you wouldn't have let me do, but take a look at what the fuck I just accomplished. That's what begging forgiveness is.
It's kind of what Shepard did in the first Mass Effect, but it's
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. So, so that's what I'm talking about when I say begging for forgiveness. Not that you
yeah.
get down
I
on,
get what you mean.
not that you're getting down on your knees. I'm just using the saying.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm sorry. I would like to find Ezra Bridger, and that would be a byproduct of finding Grand Admiral Thrawn. I'm so sorry that I would like to find my friend too.
That was like a son to me.
Yeah, that was
Yes.
technically her surrogate son. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm so sorry that I would like to find him. Fuck you.
I'm
Crick
so
you.
sorry that finding my first. I'm so sorry that finding my first surrogate son inconveniences you.
Yes.
That would, yeah,
Also,
actually, that would have been a much better way to play it.
hmm yeah, and that kind of response to some of the things that they're saying, I think could have actually swayed them, because it could have convinced them that it wasn't her personal quest that she was worried about, but that she admitted that she would, but,
I figured
but
if there was a threat, you'd want to know about it.
yeah,
But I
Mm-hmm.
guess
and
I was
yes,
wrong.
and yes, it would help what I want too, but that's not the point here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, she could have played it better.
hmm Now here, I was hoping the urgency of our situation could expedite matters. What I was thinking that she kind of meant by that might have been like you were saying, not so about about the emotion,
I know.
and where Ahsoka seems to think that Sabine is saying in that she was hoping that Ahsoka would just kind of make it work. I think that what Sabine at least might have been trying to say is that the urgency of the situation might have been like an adrenaline boost or something
Mm.
to actually to actually help her get it going better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I was thinking with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the way that Ahsoka takes it is kind of like, Sabine, are you dumb? You know it doesn't work like that. It's like, I don't think that you understood what she was saying. And I do like her giving her the task of moving the teacup with the Force. Don't start with something big. Start with this.
And she couldn't even do it.
Well, yeah, which by the way is part of what was giving me that other impression I was talking about with the 1% thing. But that doesn't mean that that's accurate, because even if you have the more Force sensitive, she still doesn't quite know how to do it. So it doesn't prove that she's the 1%. But that was one of the things that was giving me that impression. The fact that it didn't even jiggle.
Right.
If I saw it jiggle, I wouldn't have necessarily gone as far as I did with thinking about her lack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give this my best. Well, I sure damn hope you're going to give it your best. I mean, I took you on as my Padawan, didn't I?
I think that's more of a reassurance because she already tried to train her before, and
no, I know. This was me being snarky.
Yeah.
It's like, I sure hope you're going to.
Uh-huh.
You have to remember half of what comes out of net is snark. So
yeah.
And Nathan's talked to me often enough that I think he can read what I mean, snarky versus serious better than others.
I mean, there's sometimes when I can't read it, but like for the most part, I can tell when you're giving me crap and when you're being genuine.
Yeah. But seriously, with the intonation she gives here, it's like it actually is very earnest. I'm going to give this my best. Don't worry. And it is actually a heartfelt line, but it still makes me laugh. It's like Ahsoka's is just what's going through her head. I damn well hope you are.
Makes sense.
Actually, this leads me to something that I was meaning to ask you, Padawan, and Natsa. So everything that we've seen from Ahsoka in this show, she's always seemed so serious. And what I remember from Clone Wars, and just I remember her being a lot more enthusiastic. Is this accurate to how she was in Rebels?
That's kind of funny.
She was pretty serious in Rebels.
Okay.
She did find time for lighthearted moments, kind of like what she's doing here. Even here, she finds a time or two for a lighthearted moment, but like
this isn't that lighthearted. This is still a teachable moment. This isn't that lighthearted.
Oh yeah, no, I mean like there's times when she's like arguing with Hugh Yang or something. Like that's a lighthearted moment.
Okay.
But yeah, during the Clone Wars, she was more carefree. But like losing everything can kind of change your perspective, if that makes sense.
And that's
in
why
Rebels, she's a bit more reserved.
Exactly. That's literally why I was asking you guys, because I was wondering about how it lined up with Rebels, because it didn't line up with what I remembered from Clone Wars, but Rebels is significantly closer to this. So that's why I wanted to ask you guys about that.
That's kind of funny.
Go ahead.
Because my dad asked me the exact same question the other night. He hasn't seen any of the animated stuff other than a few, like passing through the room or whatever. I'm watching it. But yeah, he asked me the exact same thing that you just did. And I said, yeah, she's a little bit more serious in this, and in the past, but she's also Rebels. Last time we've seen her, it takes place before A New Hope, and this takes place after Return of the Jedi. So she's
Oh,
seeing quite a bit
definitely.
more stuff.
And if it's a straight line from enthusiastic to her being a bit more serious in Rebels to this, then that's just character progression.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, no, that's definite.
and that I'm fine
She
with.
was serious in Rebels with a few lighthearted moments,
Mm-hmm.
but I did notice she's even a bit more like even in the Mandalorian she was a bit more serious and as well here a bit serious. So yeah, that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for God's sake!
And
Sorry,
then we got and then we get more of this. She's not an acceptable candidate. Which, if we hadn't had our discussion earlier, I'd be bitching about right now. But
Uh-huh.
but this is but this very well may be Hu Yang trying to push both of them into their rebellious streaks.
Right.
Especially with this, I suppose you do come from a long line of non-traditional Jedi. That
Yeah,
that
including
that
Anakin.
that actually he comes right along with the he with the premise of he's doing reverse psychology on them,
Uh-huh.
and it doesn't move. I I I am right. It doesn't move at all, does it?
Right. It does
Just
not
wanted to
move at all.
confirm. Okay. I have to follow the orders. Hera, what happened? All comm transmissions are being jammed. Oh,
I'm
and
kind of
I do have
glad
to
the
say,
company moved.
just as a general thing, hyperspace in Disney Star Wars goes way too fast.
Hmm.
They cover distance within hours that should not be able to be covered. You can go from an outer world to a core system within a day.
I thought hyperspace has always been a little like plot uh,
Not
uh
really.
plot reliant.
To a degree, but not like that.
Hmm.
I guess it really depends on what space lane they're using.
Space lanes. There
No,
are
hyperspace routes and space lanes are a thing in Star Wars.
hyperspace routes are what they are specific are specific routes that make sure you don't go through gravity shadows.
Yeah.
They don't make you go faster. They keep you from dying.
Hmm.
All right, I see your point.
But in Disney Star Wars, we can, and this goes back to Rise of Skywalker specifically. We can go from system to system to system within the space of hours. And part of the thing about the outer about the outer planets versus the core planets is that it actually takes a significant amount of time to get from the core worlds to the outer world to the outer rim.
Yeah, I mean,
That
like
that
you think about how long it took. Think about how long it took Han to get Luke and Ben to Alderaan.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes a while, but the moment that Disney started doing in hyperspace, it became fast travel in video games.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things that's always bothered me. Keep in mind, I am a Star Wars tech bro.
Yeah, net is like light years more. Like I'm more of a
Like
chronology guy,
yours.
and net is like no, net is light years like more technical than I am. He gave me a perfect definition of what a lightsaber is, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like I don't know what I think it was something different in the current canon, but like
It's
I,
different
I
in the
like
current canon.
I like Net's explanation better.
Hmm.
because it actually
Yeah.
makes logical sense.
And Padawan has actually heard it too because he was watching me play Force Unleashed on one of my times that I just rage quit the game, and I was ranting about how lightsabers are weapons of mass destruction.
Wait, Force Unleashed or
Force-
Jedi Fallen Order?
Sorry,
Jedi
Jedi
Fallen
Fallen
Order, I
Order.
think.
Yeah, Fallen Order. My bad. But yeah, I went on one of my rants about lightsabers being weapons of mass destruction,
Mm-hmm.
and this thing feels like a baseball bat, and it should be killing everything.
To be fair, it does that in the first Force Unleashed as well, but
I know.
I mean, it
the
was
only
killing
time I-
everything.
the only time I felt
After-
like it was semi-accurate with its damage is in like the Jedi Knight games and Force Unleashed 2.
Padawan, it was killing everything after 3 or 4 swipes at them.
Well, yeah. Well, not a stormtrooper, but yeah. I think that was
Yeah.
more of a gameplay mechanic.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But it still was. I'm just talking about my rant.
Yeah. Yep.
I know Jedi Survivor actually tried to fix it a little because you can cut off like stormtrooper limbs.
Uh-huh.
And,
I actually noticed that was in the options that you can turn that on or off.
Mm-hmm. It's on by default, obviously.
Yes, it is. It is. I just thought it was interesting that they gave us the option to turn it off.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why they gave that option. I forget why.
I am probably going to play some Jedi Survivor on stream tomorrow, by the way, assuming that my shit doesn't die on me again.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't.
I was just so annoyed. I was like, I've got my microphone working. I'm going to play. My internet dies. Like, die. So, yeah.
was it your setup or your internet that died?
Oh, it was the internet. Because the setup thought that I was still broadcasting, and I had YouTube Studio open, and it was like, "Yep, it ended." It was like I'm gonna hurt something, and then I got on to binging Armored Core 6.
Thanks here.
So,
I'll be right back, guys. My dad just got home and it's raining, so I'm just gonna help him get inside real quick.
Get and say hi.
Oh, I will.
So yeah, one of the sources of amusement in this to me is every time that Hu Yang does something that he doesn't bother checking with them about and says standard Jedi mission protocol.
Yeah.
It's like we're gonna hurt you.
Even Sabine's getting fed up with it.
Yep. So yeah. Now they get into a battle. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
They have to actually work together, which Hu Yang points out, and then they work together. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually wasn't done badly, by the way. My deadpan yay doesn't actually convey that. I actually thought that was actually done at least relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, the "Woo, I got one" is kind of a callback to New Hope. I was almost ready to hear Han Solo go, "That's great, kid. Don't get cocky."
Yeah, I was almost. Yeah.
And then, like I was saying, Morgan goes, "I'm surprised you let them get this far."
Uh-huh.
As in this kind of being a sign of an uneasy alliance.
Right.
I also love that. Can you get a little closer? Can you get a little closer? Are you sure? And he's like, "Okay, I got it." Then apparently because
Kaboom.
he's completely connected to the ship. When the
Yeah.
ship goes down, it overloads his batteries.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like no, we're not trying to help Hu Yang right now. We need to survive this.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna get to a part where I'm gonna at least somewhat bitch. However, this is better than when Rey used her lightsaber on Kylo Ren's tie.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of my problem with her using it on his tie was that it even with the lightsabers being as badass as they are supposed to be, when you what no when no what when they cut through Durasteel, it doesn't go through like a hot knife through butter.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
does catch for a little bit, which means
Mm-hmm.
momentum pulls you. In Rise of Skywalker, you'd never be able to tell that.
Right.
Here, when when she does it, it actually does is make it so that she's no longer on board the ship.
Right.
So the momentum actually did screw with her.
Mm-hmm.
So that is better. Now, what I have a problem with here is I don't care if those are droids or humans. I'm actually more annoyed if it was a droid because a droid would be like, why would I get that close? In a battle like this, why get that close when there is a lightsaber wielding maniac out on the hull of the ship? Oh my
Let's
god.
destroy.
I mean, you guys have really powerful blasters and lasers and stuff on your ships against a ship that is not firing back at you. You don't
Yeah.
need to get that close.
Yeah, you'd think they would have just fired from a distance, but
I mean, they did that, but that wasn't working, so they just kept going forward and forward and forward.
Yeah.
to be fair, the pilot that got cut with the saber was one of like the inept henchmen, so you kind of expect that to happen.
I don't expect anyone to be that terminally stupid.
Well, you hope no one would be that terminally stupid, but
He is smart enough to actually fly the plane. If he wasn't smart enough to fly the plane, maybe I could believe he was that terminally stupid. But he actually has to clear a certain intelligence bar to be able to pilot that starship. And I don't expect anyone who can pass that bar to be terminally stupid.
it would kind of make sense that he would be smart enough to get out of the way, considering two of his compatriots are lightsaber wielding maniacs. So
Yes. Yes. So I have less of a problem with the act of her doing it. I have a problem with the fact that they made it a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
maybe he was just that one idiot that like if I could get closer and blow him out of the sky, I could really impress the boss.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I'm really gonna get this promotion.
Yeah. And I do kind of like going, did you fix the ship yet? Okay, now come get me. That made me laugh. I
Uh-huh.
won't lie. That
Yeah, that
made me
was.
laugh.
I actually kind of chuckled when I saw her kind of floating out there in space.
Hmm.
Did
Then
you
come
fix the
get
ship
me.
yet?
Yep. And no space whales.
Oh yeah,
Pergale.
the Purgle.
Space
Pergales.
whales.
Yep. Space whales.
I don't have a problem with the concept of space whales, by the way. I will still laugh at it.
Hmm,
But I
fair
I
enough.
don't actually have a problem with it because as the idea that there are things that can live in hyperspace and go between hyperspace. And by the way, I was saying there aren't hyperspace lanes. I'm willing to buy like a hyperspace lane between galaxies, but
Hmm.
it's that when I was going about the hyperspace lanes, just when you're going between planets. No, that's not my understanding of what they are. But between galaxies, I'm willing to buy, especially if they're being forged by something like this, that there are
Mhm.
actual lanes that can actually give a boost to the travel. That I'm actually willing to buy.
Mhm.
Does the distinction make any sense?
Mhm.
Okay, because this is almost like like they're making a wake in the hyperspace that you're kind of following and
Right.
might speed you faster because because the hyperspace is kind of congealing around them or something.
Mhm.
If they really expect me to believe Eddie Joe Schmo can fly his ship in Star Wars with no pilot training whatsoever, yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Yeah,
Annihilus, what are your thoughts on space whales?
not gonna lie. I get what you're saying about the over the whole Marvel quips everywhere. I get that, but frankly, there isn't enough levity in some of the Star Wars. Getting a little bit of levity is a good thing. When there's levity every other sentence, like we have seen in some of the Star Wars stuff, I get it. That I don't feel that Ahsoka is actually doing the quips everywhere thing. The only whale I know of that was in space soon perished on the surface of an alien planet, wondering if it and the ground could be friends. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, right? What wasn't it a rose at one point during that fall? Because that was with the infinite improbability drive, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes, you are completely right, Nihilus. Stargate SG-1 did levity great, and that's fair. I, that's a fair bar to measure it against. It's a high bar, but it's fair. Oh, two missiles were transformed into the whale and a bowl of peanuts. Okay, my bad.
I've never seen Hitchhike. Well, I've never read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I always thought the movie was kind of boring, though.
Okay, there's multiple. Oh, okay. There's another version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy you can watch that is more accurate to the book. It's more of a series.
Is it on Netflix?
I will try to find it. I don't remember, to be honest. But
If it's on Netflix, I can't watch it because I no longer have connectivity
well,
to that.
you are also talking to the person who can find things.
True.
Yo ho.
Yo ho.
Remember,
Hondo.
I don't have access to Disney Plus, and somehow this thing managed to land on my computer.
Somehow Ahsoka returned.
And, I
Sorry.
mean, I don't know how it got here,
I don't know how it got.
and I'm
Oh,
going to
I know
maintain
how.
that. I'm going to maintain that I have no clue how it got here.
Somehow
I don't know.
Ahsoka returned.
I'm just happy quoting a Disney movie that I really enjoy, which is "Take what you can, give nothing back."
Yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum.
I have the DVDs, Hitchhiker's Guide, BBC series, much better than the 2000. Oh, okay.
The BBC series. That's what I was thinking of. Thinking else. That's what I was thinking of. Yes. And no, I'm really not sure which character that is. Sorry. And else, I regret to inform you, I did not get to reading your stuff because because I got myself binging Armored Core 6. I'm sorry. I kind of got distracted.
I'm mostly caught up on everybody's stuff. I think there's still one chapter of Annihilus' stuff that I have to read, and that's about it.
Yes, dude, it's Armored Core. Good, glad you understand.
So they fixed the ship, and now
Yep.
they're on the planet.
Got scan complete, and I do kind of like that that this shows a little bit of their bonding. What did I miss? We almost died multiple times. Yes, standard operating procedure.
Well, if you're a Jedi, that is pretty standard operating procedure.
Well, yes, but so often when we hear about standard Jedi operating procedure,
Yeah.
Did I say that short? Did I say the same thing? I was short. The episode. Said the same thing you did.
but with how so often we hear standard Jedi operating procedure and it's a problem that they're annoyed. In this case, it's like, oh yeah. And then they land, and he's like, I don't want to go down. Standard protocol. I suppose that's true.
True.
Yeah, that's true. It's a standard protocol. He has to accept it.
Yep. So yeah. And now we find out that that this is a hyperspace ring, and for anyone who is who is riding the short bus, it's explained to us that this hyperspace ring can bring us to another galaxy. But if you needed this explained to us as people observing it, you're riding the short bus. You know what I mean?
Some people might not even know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's obvious that.
I get it. It's a hyperspace ring across galaxies.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was clear that they would need to go to another galaxy. It's clear that they made a ring. It's clear that they're putting hyperspace generators in it. Do we need to spell out the rest? I'm just saying. And yes, it does need to be spelled out for them because they haven't been given the view of the bridge of the hyperspace ring. They haven't been given all the stuff that we've seen. So it is necessary for them to find out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, for those of us in the audience that need it spelled out, you're riding the short bus. Just saying. And now, find them, kill them. Bah, bah. Oh, and this is the first time that I actually watched the ending with the credits, and it struck me how much like House of the Dragon this credit sequence actually is. Because with House of the Dragon, it was showing the blood going down and activating various things, and this is kind of showing in the stuff connecting the planets and going between places. I mean, it's not a one-to-one thing, but it really reminded me of it as it would hit something and then split off and go a different direction.
Yep.
Which was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't watch House of the Dragon, but again, one of those two channels I keep referencing, I mentioned that parallel
Ah, okay. So it's not just me.
Nope, not just
Cool.
you.
Ah, cool. Unless it's a build up to the Yuzong Vong. And now it's not gonna be a build up to the Yuzong Vong. And to my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, but they've been building up a different long range enemy that might be there, but they're not. But it's not the Yuzong Vong. But I could be wrong.
I remember someone had the theory of someone had the theory of Thrawn finding a Star Forge.
Oh dear God. That would be terrifying, especially if it was the expanded universe Thrawn.
I mean, this Thrawn's no laughing matter either. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
I hate to say it because it is one of the talking points that is mocked to death, but this Thrawn was beaten by a group of kids. The expanded universe Thrawn would not have been.
It wasn't just a group of kids.
Mm-mm.
There were some grown ups though, like Hera, a couple of the clones, Agent Callus.
Okay, then
he was a former Imperial.
Yeah.
Okay,
he was a former ISB agent, and
if you're going to say that's reasonable, then I will take your word on that. But it's just that
no,
Thrawn
it wasn't just kids.
It's just that Thrawn in the expanded universe is such an insanely scary figure that it took betrayal to actually beat him.
I will say this. Even though I don't think the Thrawn in Rebels is the same tier as the Thrawn from the Thrawn trilogy as far as intelligence, the way he loses in Rebels actually kind of makes sense because it's something he's never encountered before.
Okay, which would actually be the equivalent of the betrayal then? Because it's the thing that he didn't have any way to, to actually
Rebels,
plan for.
In Rebels season 3, Bendu shows up, and Thrawn did not expect, nor was he prepared for this. Basically, a large, angry cloud yak attacked him.
Okay, then.
Yes. A force-wielding, large, angry cloud yak. And then at the end of season 4, space whales. I mean, think about it. You're calculating... You're calculating intelligent Imperial admiral with an entire fleet of Star Destroyers at your disposal. Out of the blue, space whales show up and wipe out your fleet like it's nothing.
Oh dear God! Yeah.
I just want you to think about that. Would a master strategist think of that?
But we're missing the most important question here. Did Thrawn get a chance to see the art made by the space whales?
The art?
Art.
Because that's how he met. Because that's how he gets into the mind of his
enemy.
My God! So did he get a chance to see the art made by the space whales?
I don't think the space whales paint their art the traditional way other people do.
Well, I mean, if art was hyperspace, then yeah, technically he saw it.
Well, then he has no excuse because because that's how he that's how he judges and is able to get the upper hand. And if he's gotten the work of the art from hyperspace, he should not have been surprised by them.
Well, technically,
I think it would be funny if Purgle showed up again and he's like, "I will not lose to space whales again."
We spray paint a rude chest on the space whales. Send him to Palpatine. Okay, and I also getting a little bit. He's getting a little bit punchy right now.
Wait, what did he say?
What if we spray painted a rude gesture on the space whales and send them to Palpatine, and then we steal Palpatine's sock drawer and make him go barefoot on a floor paved with splinters? There's
That's bizarre.
yes.
This feels
Okay.
like an Okuyasu level plan.
Yep. Okay, so we've actually done it.
Yay! Despite our best efforts, we.
And this is why I didn't add other people to the stream.
The shortest episode, and it only took us 2 hours.
Oh,
Yeah,
trust me.
Padawan. If there were more people here, this would have been over in like 3 to 4 hours, maybe 5.
Not so. We've actually gone 6, haven't we?
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Padawan, there's a reason why I was like, no, to adding people.
Okay. Oh, okay. He says he wanted to read all this in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged Series Merrick's voice.
Okay, I don't actually know that voice.
I can do that one. I can do that
Okay.
one. That's what if we spray painted a rude gesture on the space whales and send them to Palpatine, and then we steal Palpatine's sock drawer and make him go barefoot on a floor paved with splinters?
There you go. So that would be named Artistic Gold. Yep. And
I buy that.
Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to end the stream here. And thank you for coming, Padawan. And if you'd like to come again in the future, I'd love to have you. I think this was a really good stream.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you.
Okay, and don't actually leave yet. I'm going to end the broadcast, but just stick around for a moment, okay?
Okay.